Welcome to the Uncommon Conversation, the very first podcast of this series, and I'm super excited. Things all about self-development, self-awareness, and building from the ground up. Soheil, welcome to the space.
David, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a crazy podcast.
Here we go. So people see this big person on social media, they see a presence, they see such a confidence in front of camera, which is extremely inspiring, especially for a man of 26 years of age. Yeah, you've achieved such a lot in your life, but that doesn't just happen overnight, and it's built from a base, and it's built from something strong and deep. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Where did it all start for you? Like, from what you can remember, what was like your upbringing like? What was your family dynamic like, and where did it all start taking shape for you?
So I'm so grateful I have such good parents. They raised me to be such a good kid. So I grew up in Vienna, Austria. I was born there, had my first couple of years there. And then we moved to Canada. So that was a bit of a challenge for me to immigrate to Canada. I had to learn English and French at the same time. But I think having parents that taught me to be at core a good human being with good values, being kind, being loyal, honest, compassionate, loving, empathetic, that was the base for everything else that I then built. But went to Canada, and then, the focus was to do good in school, and then the dream to go high up in soccer happened, and then the whole journey evolved, which is hours and hours of talking, but that's where everything started. Good parents, good family, and then also a lot of different, I would say, experiences, not just being in one place my whole upbringing. So being born in a place, growing up there, completely different culture, then moving to Canada, multicultural culture, getting to know different people, all of that, just feedback and input to work with to make me and shape me as a human.
100%. And having those experiences from such a young age is so vital, especially for development in different environments and being placed in different places. But were you always the confident person that people see now?
No, not at all. I was actually so shy. Growing up, I was super shy. So went to Canada, didn't know how to speak English. First day in a lineup, the kid in front of me asks me, "Hey, how are you?" I didn't know how to respond. So I just looked down, looked away. Wow. And then I went to high school. I was always doing good in school because my parents pushed academics. So my mom, she's a doctor. My dad is an engineer. They studied very hard in their life. So it was very much, okay, do well in school. So my focus was academics. And then I loved soccer. So I started to play it. And it was academics, sports. But then socially, I wasn't really taught any skills. So I was very shy. I was introverted. I was by myself. Going into uni, I'm not kidding. By the end of year one of university, I had one, and I don't even know if it was a friend. It was a classmate. I studied biomedical sciences. I'm talking on the academic side. Like, I was on the soccer team. I had two good friends on the soccer team, but I wasn't very social. Every time I remember, I would walk into the locker room and I was getting anxious and nervous. Like, okay, who's going to talk to me now? What are they going to say? How am I going to need to respond? Now it's a complete shift. Like, I don't even think about those things anymore. Confidence is really built up. But people who see me now, they're so surprised to know that was who Soheil a couple of years was. So last couple of years have changed a lot.
100%. And that's what interests me about success is people see the top of the iceberg.
Yeah.
People see the bit that is out the water. They don't see the massive base of the struggles and the challenges and the different experiences that you've had to go through. So when you say about, like, looking back, you can see yourself, you can see young Soheil, and you're like, wow, look how much I've changed. What was it that shifted, or when did that awareness come about from, I need to develop my social skills? Was it more of just an evolution, or was there an awareness in your mind? Because I'm sure many people listening, not necessarily kids, but even older people will still be feeling anxious in groups or in certain situations. What shifted that for you?
So the most important thing for me is awareness, like you mentioned. I think it's the most valuable skill that you can build. I believe it's a skill. You can work on it, you can build it. So for me, I knocked a domino, and I think there's a domino every single person knocks at some point in their life, hopefully, if they are able to get aware.
Yeah.
And that is, wait, I can actually be aware of what I'm thinking about. I can be aware of who I am, what are my values, how do I want to speak, how do I want to show up. Step one is being aware that you can actually be aware. And so many people live their whole life as robots and they never develop that awareness. So I would say obviously it's not black and white, but there's a significant kind of domino that you knock where it's like, okay, I can now work on this and I can improve it. And for me, I have to give the credit to 2019 timeline. Started getting familiar with a couple content pieces in the self-development space. It was Gary Vee at first, then Tom Bilyeu, Tony Robbins, Lewis Howes. And to be honest, before that, a lot of my conditioning, and this goes for so many people, parents, society, friends. That's all. So for the first time ever, I got information from people who have been very successful in life. And when I say in life, in all areas of life, not just business, but relationships, finances, self-awareness, all these different pieces. So I came across a couple of videos that for the first time knocked that domino. And it was like, whoa, I can actually be aware of how I am. So that then got me to start auditing things. And my first audit was, I'm shy. I'm not that confident.
In 2019, how old are you at this point?
I am, so we're 2025, so 6 years ago, I'm around 20.
Okay, wow, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why when I first went to uni, I was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
And I finished university, but my first couple of years, I was super shy. It was not until that moment. And again, it wasn't one moment. You then have to practice. So I hit that video, I watched it, and then it was other videos. And then I remember I was listening to one podcast by Tom Bilyeu, and he had a book reading list. And that was like his recommended books. And the first one on it was Growth Mindset, or Mindset by Carol Dweck. That was my first book. I read it. I still have this notebook where every time I read a book, I don't do it anymore, but I did it for about 2 years. So when I read that first book, I took notes. I'm like, wow, growth mindset, fixed mindset. What does this look like? And that's where everything started. So step by step, I then learned, okay, I can be confident. How can I be confident? How can I speak? What values do I want to stand for? And then from there, just start to build step by step.
It's interesting because one of the 3 pillars of the Uncommon Life philosophy that I built myself, awareness, action, and alignment. So as you said then, the awareness part is you either live a life of autopilot or awareness. You do what you've always done and you just continue that cycle. And was there a point of, so obviously you said like 2019 was the first time that domino got hit. Then you started building the reps on top of that. Was there anybody else in your circle at the time of friends, obviously small group, that was very similar? Or did you have to leave the pack? Did you start like exploring and escaping your current environment or changing your route compared to friends? How hard was that?
Look, it's interesting because right around that time, end of 2018, moving into 2019, was when I started getting into it. At that time, I took a break from university and I really want to pursue the dream of being a pro soccer player. So I took a one-way ticket to Austria at the time. I had managed to, long story, I managed to sign with a team out there. And I was in Austria, living in a village on top of a barber shop with, I remember the guy who was living with me was in Vietnam War, didn't have legs, didn't speak English, and very grumpy, frustrated guy.
Wow.
I had no friends on the team because, again, hadn't had the social skills at that time. And Austria at core can be a culture that at first it's difficult to integrate yourself into if you're not from there. So some of the teammates, they weren't as, nice, I guess, to like make me part of the team.
Yeah.
And so I'm all alone. Okay. I have the occasional call with my family, but they were a little bit upset because I stopped school for that semester. And my friendship circle didn't really have much interaction with them because I was tunnel vision in Austria. So I was all alone, just going to training, coming back, no one to talk with. So in terms of was there anyone else in my environment? No. I literally watched that video, then got to watching other videos, then got out a notebook and I just started journaling, and it was me and myself, and the work started with myself. And that went on for months and months and months. The people, for me, when you ask that question, what comes to my mind is I'm so grateful for Lewis Howes, Tom Bilyeu, Ed Milet, Tony, like those were the people for me. They weren't in person, for me, they became virtual friends. So I would gain information from them and I would gain insight from them. So that's what it was for me. And then a couple years down the line, start to really build up. And then in person, I started developing great relationships.
That's amazing, especially when people have can have a negative association with social media for many things. But for you, it really turned your life around, or not even turned it around, but took it to another level, took it to that next level. And it really is important that what you consume, you become. So being aware of what you're consuming.
Yeah.
And for yourself, that first piece of content led to more self-development. Whereas when people get into probably a social media side, people can overconsume entertainment and just be caught up in the entertainment space rather than how do I develop and how do I grow?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting you say that, because people think social media is this bad thing and kind of alienate it or victimize it, but it has such a power when it's done through the right lens.
The thing is, social media nowadays, for most people, they get a good amount of stimulus and input from it. And you know that famous quote, you're a product of your environment.
Yeah.
It applies to the people who are around you, but it also applies to the information around you.
100%.
What conditions you.
100%.
So I think it's super valuable for every single person. They need to audit social media. They need to audit the information they're getting, and they need to make sure it's in alignment with their values, who they want to be, and the goal. Like, where do you want to get to? And I think at the time for me, what made me gravitate towards the positive end of social media is because I actually had a why and a purpose, and I had a drive. One, I wanted to become successful to help my parents. That was a big driving force for me. And two, at the time, my heavy interest was I want to become a pro soccer player. So I had that intrinsic drive, and those two things fueled me to, okay, if I want to achieve these two things, then I need to upgrade and I need to elevate. And I think that's why when I went to social media, I probably ended up, okay, how do I become better at this? Or how do I improve this? And then that video came and it knocked that domino, and then I kept going. So I think a great place to start is you need the awareness.
100%.
As soon as you get the awareness, you need to build the why and the purpose and the drive, because that for me is a compass and it points you in the right direction. And the more clarity you have around that, the more fulfilled you're going to be able to live life. So it's never going to be black or white. I think it's something that it's a passion, it's an interest that you build, and then step by step as you go on with life, you have to develop it. You have to develop it.
100%.
And
Put it into your pot.
yeah. And I know you had a phase in your life where you were, I guess from the outside looking in, you could define it as lost. Maybe you didn't have that purpose, didn't have that fulfillment. And then your transformation's been incredible. Coming to Dubai and developing the awareness and getting to know, okay, who do I stand for? What is important in my life? And then now, by the way, I was going to say this before the podcast started, but you look good with that.
Well,
Right?
I tell you what, it's a nice little accessory. But yeah, it has been a big journey, and that's why this is one of the biggest drivers for me to create this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I lacked depth in connection. And the more I understood why I felt empty is because I had friends, but it was on such a surface level. I thought it was deep, but you go on nights out, you play football, but where's like the deep connection of how are we going to level each other up? How are we really going to support each other from the roots, not just, oh, you come with me to go there. Yeah, great time. See you tomorrow. And I think when you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And someone said to me, there was a turning point in my life which someone said, we don't invite you out anymore, or I'm like, why don't you guys bring me out? Or why don't you send a message? Or they're like, we know what you do. I went, what do you mean? They went, you've done the same weekly routine for the last 4 years. We know what your Wednesday is. We know what time your football is on Tuesday, Thursday. We know what time your games are on Saturday. We know Sunday you're not. They knew my weekly schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and that was a domino effect that someone challenged my way of living. Because otherwise I would have continued doing the same. I was in the military for 9 years, same weekly routine, different aspects throughout the week, but very similar structure. And I'd been brought up with such a disciplined structure from my dad being in the military. So I've been growing up around structure my whole life. And because I'd then created this living philosophy of structure is key, as soon as anything was different to that structure, day's done, finished. I'm not training at 9 o'clock. I set it for 9, it's 9:03.
Yeah.
That's how detailed it was. And I was a living schedule.
Yeah, and you were super strict with it. So your experience of life was the same thing over and over again. I do commend you for the discipline that you had, because I think that still is instilled in you to a very high level.
Yeah.
But so many people, they live that life over and over and over again. And just think about how disappointing it would be. You get to live life. How many countries are there? How many people are there? How many different ideas, business ventures could you go on? But instead, it's the same routine over and over again. And I think there's beauty in routine. You need to have something to build and to develop. But, my last couple of years, I'm so grateful for them. From Canada to Dubai, to all the different people I've met, to the experiences I've had, to the roller coaster of emotions. I think the more of life you get to experience, the more fulfilled you become.
100%, and that's where growth comes from. Like, I was never really out of my comfort zone. I used to get out of my comfort zone through training. I used to get out of my comfort zone through cold exposure and ice baths every day, no matter the temperature. But I never used to get out of my comfort zone with different routines, different environments, different people. It was the same people, same environments, but I used to change it through training and almost just physical stress, not from environment, conversations, and different social circles. So it's very interesting. And one thing I do want to come back to before we move on is you said your mum and dad were not happy with you when you left, obviously, your schooling background and like where you were going in life to pursue what you wanted. So many people will feel that resistance of family going, because my dad did. When I went to leave the military, it was, you're going to ruin your life. Why would you do that? Because when he left the military, he's seen it as the worst thing he ever did.
Yeah.
So he comes at it. I used to not understand why he told me that, but he came at a place of, I care for you. I made this mistake. Don't you make it, rather than do what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But that's the way it was received from me. So straight away, resistance of, you're going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do it anyway. There's that kind of response. So how did you kind of extract yourself from that loving family dynamic who just want you to do well, and you had to go against the grain? Because so many people will stay doing the same because they can't do that.
You know, the thing you said about your dad didn't want you to make the same mistake. So for my parents, they've worked incredibly hard with their studies and their professional life. Grew up in Iran and then immigrated to Austria to get their jobs there, then immigrated to Canada and couldn't find exactly what they wanted. So I think for the kids, it was, okay, we've now made the move here. We've sacrificed so much. The route is there, or at least the perceived route is there for you to do this, 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 and then you get a very stable job for the rest of your life. And the moment I went anything other than that, it was that fear factor of they maybe already made that mistake in a different way. So they wanted me to make sure I don't make that same mistake. So when I wanted to do soccer and then also social media, those were my two interests and passions. There was a lot of friction at the start because obviously it was going to take attention away from the academic route. I still did my studies because honestly, my mom and my dad, they worked so hard in their life, and for them to work so hard to even give me the opportunity to succeed, not to succeed, but just to get the opportunity to even succeed.
Yeah.
The least I can do is pay them back in that way. So I finished my studies and I'm very glad I did. But what I had to do is I had to separate. Because the thing is, when you're in the same environment as someone who doesn't have the same vision, there's going to be limited growth. So I went to Europe to pursue my dream. That gave me freedom with soccer. It gave me freedom with social media, with content creation. And, when I was there, I was pretty much, independent ever since 18. And I made sure that everything I did was in line with the vision. And it gave me that freedom. So the thing is, once you mature, you realize like all of that friction and, that scarcity that they might have, it's all empathy and love.
Yeah.
So if you're fully understanding of that, that has its place. When you're with them, be grateful, really enjoy that quality time, but then have your own energy in your own space to be able to pursue what it is that you want to do. And then really obviously back it up with the hard work and make sure you become successful. And if it's something you're passionate about and you have a strong purpose, then you're going to become massively successful. So that's what I would recommend, is if anybody is struggling with that dynamic, is just, approach it with empathy and compassion and love, but then also those extra hours that you have, commit to your vision, grow it, and actually back it up, Don't go and just do your thing for 10 years and it's not successful. Make it successful. They're going to be proud of you. They're going to be understanding of it. The more successful I'm becoming now, the more they start to, even though they don't fully get it yet, because they come from a different generation, the more they start to understand it. Like, wow, my son, you know, he took risks, he achieved these different things, and I'm proud of him now. Whereas before I was at the starting stages. So obviously when they look at it, they're like, what are you doing? you have your education, your studies here in Canada. You could just go down this route. But
Got to back yourself.
yeah, 100%. You have to execute at the end of the day. You have to prove.
Yeah.
So I'm still in the process of that, I would say. It's not that by the way, it's not a focus of mine at all. Like my mindset has drifted so much. But it's the thing I told you about. Even age now, I don't think about age. Every day I wake up, I'm so happy and grateful, and I'm really enjoying the process of what I'm building.
100%.
And I think it's because, one, I really enjoy what I'm doing, but two, deep down inside, I know it's making an impact. Because yes, the execution in line with the vision, there's still a long way to go. But if you know what the vision is, and if you're committed to working towards it and achieving it, and it's something special, then it's just you're gonna have that fuel.
Absolutely. And it's actually quite interesting because obviously when you say the domino effect, then you start becoming more aware. And then when you start becoming more aware, you can't stop getting more aware.
Yeah.
And awareness doesn't get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, I'm aware as I can be. It literally just keeps going down. And the conversations we have just go down holes that just keep expanding. And it's very interesting when you have that first eye-opening thought and you're like, wow. And one of the things that really hit me is someone said to me, everybody's doing the best they can with what they have. Yeah. So nobody goes out there today and go, you know what, I'm going to make someone really unhappy today. Or I'm going to go out there and cause as much trouble and chaos as much as I can today. People go out there and genuinely just do what they can with the resources they have. And everyone collects resources from people they surround themselves with, how they've been brought up, what they consume on social media, news. Yeah. And that is probably one of the worst ones. Fear-mongering on news. And I don't watch that. I haven't watched it for a long time out of choice. Yeah. People go, you're stupid, you're not up to date with the news. I'm like, it's just a choice I make. And it keeps me at peace much, much better.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that when you can open your mind to go like, you can kind of not hold on to anything. You can let it be because you're just doing the best you can with what you have. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I have my vision and my route.
That, once you have that as a human, your empathy, I don't want to say is maxed out. There's always growth.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a high level because every single situation that happens, you're always going to be empathetic. Like that person executed that way or said that thing because it's the best that they could have done in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
And when you truly understand that, you can't get upset at people. You can't get frustrated. And you realize it's not worth it. I think that's the better way to word it, right? It's not worth it. And I genuinely now in the last 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, I can confidently say nothing anyone does, even if it was initially slightly out of expectation or heavily out of expectation, bothers me. It actually does.
Our place.
It's a really powerful, it's a peaceful place.
Yeah.
And it's because of that thought. I know, okay, everybody's doing the best with what they had access to, the experiences that we went through, the resources that they had. And once you fully understand that, it puts you in a very peaceful place.
100%. And I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching now will want to know. So it all started as in the social media side is the documentary to pro. Where did the thought of I'm going to document this come from? Where was that? I'm going to, obviously a passion for social media, passion for football.
Yeah.
You just combine the dots. And where did you start? How did you start? And what was the process like for that?
So like a lot of young boys, okay, I'm going to go pro soccer player, pro athlete. That was the dream. So I had a lot of friends. They wanted to do the same thing. A lot of them gave up early on. I said, no, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep going. Then I got into social media because, you know, everybody has their passion. So people would go play video games, do other things. I would watch YouTube videos around football in high school. That was my thing. Like I would watch, maybe do my homework and then watch for like half an hour. And then that's where it started because I watched these guys called Free Kickers, a couple other channels as well. And I thought, what if I start creating content for fun? It was all passion. That got me into content.
What things specifically, was it more so how to pass a certain way, or was it more of an entertainment from a football aspect?
Entertainment, I would say.
Okay.
Some tutorials too. So a little bit of education, but entertainment.
Okay.
They were doing free kicks, different things. I was watching a couple different channels.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, this is cool. Like, I actually enjoy this. What if I get a camera and I start also making videos? So first, start for fun. Then side by side, that fuel of, okay, I'm going to go pro came about. I started doing, it was very on and off because I was studying university, so I couldn't fully commit to the content creation. But I was watching a couple of channels become elite. Matt, one of them, he was documenting some of his journey on YouTube in more vlog style. So then I met up with him as well when I went to LA at the time. But then COVID hit and TikTok started becoming popular. So the seriousness of the I'm going to document, that idea I came up with right after COVID because everybody was at home and they didn't have much to do.
Yeah.
And I still had that dream and I want to share it with people. So no one was doing it short format. So some people, they vlogged their journey before, but short format content on TikTok, no one really did that journey to pro, especially in such a short period of timeline. So I thought, let me do it because one, it'll hold me accountable. Two, also, so many people don't know what the actual process is like. So if I share it and I'm raw and I'm authentic with it, I can then, one, inspire other people, but also educate them on what it actually looks like. So then if I'm making mistakes, they can learn from those mistakes and hopefully have better careers. And then that whole journey, zooming out over years and years, I just saw the opportunity in so many people just focus on football or on their sport. There's so much more to life. And I was able to develop that through a personal brand, through going to events, building my network, building connections, getting brand deals, building businesses. And I thought, what if I can make that impact and educate the greater audience on that? And then that's where it drifted from the journey to pro to building the football club.
Yeah, nice. And people, and this was probably including me as well, you go through an aspect of, professional footballer, every boy's dream.
Yeah.
Same again, tiny tip of the iceberg is the professional football, but what is it? What are people, one, what do people want to achieve? Is it I want to be a superstar?
Yeah.
I want the money, or I genuinely love the game, that I will do it no matter what success comes from it. But people see professional football, but do they really understand what it takes to get there? People just focus on this a little bit rather than everything that goes into it. What was the biggest struggle and the most probably life-changing moment in your journey to pro? What was the biggest thing you were like, is this for me anymore? Is this what I wanted? Was there something that big that really hit hard and stuck with you?
Well, the most challenging moment was when one of my family members got very sick and they had a big health problem while I was doing the journey to pro. So that, for me, heightened my perspective heavily on the importance of family and health in relation to this. I want to become a pro. Like, it's not even important compared to like the situation that was happening. So that, for me, was the most challenging timeline, 110%. If you're relating it to okay, maybe it's I don't want to just one-dimensionally go pro anymore and there's more to it. For me, I think it was as I was documenting and I was going to events and meeting different people and I built my brand and I saw opportunities come, two different angles. One, I actually personally built a greater passion for that life experience compared to just the football that I've had in the last 6-7 years. So I started forward thinking on like the next 10-15 years. Okay, football, what has that gotten me in terms of life output, in terms of my relationships, my fulfillment, my happiness? And I compared it to the last 6, 12, 18 months of then doing the content creation with the football and everything else that came with that. And I just enjoyed it so much more. So that was a big part of it. And then the second big part of it was also then going into the why and attaching it to something greater than just myself. So because I learned that for myself, I thought 100% there's going to be other people who are going to have that same experience once they get to it and once they have the tools to get to that place. But a lot of people will never experience it because there's no one in the space right now making that education and making that pathway. So that's why it drifted at some point of, okay, I don't want to just become a pro soccer player, because if I do this other thing instead, which is pro soccer player drifted to pro football club owner, building a football club, educating people, the impact I get to make is so much more significant. Yeah. And it was a combination of those two things that then it finally got me drifting to okay, this is the life that I want to live and this is where I'm going to evolve to.
don't you worry, we're going to come to that. We're going to come to that next phase. And it's actually very interesting because you've almost gone, so many people like want the fame, but then when they get the fame, they haven't done the inner work. So fame can destroy people. And for example, a social presence and influence like you've got, if you didn't have the foundational human skills, that could have destroyed you completely. And it's very interesting that so many people are thinking, right, how do I get this? How do I get this? How do I get this? Thinking that's what will make them happy, rather than how do I build myself as a human? How do I have the self-belief? How do I have the self-confidence? How do I almost trust myself that much that no matter what path I go on, I will be successful and feel fulfilled? And going from that side, I think, would you agree that that's from all your challenges and the domino effect hitting early, that when you did escalate on social media, that really supported your growth from, I'm grounded, I know who I am, I'm not getting lost in this?
Yeah. I went to events when I first came to UAE, went to this event called VidCon Abu Dhabi. I met all of these. Quick context, I was in Europe at the time, barely any money. I took a risk. I'm like, one-way ticket to Abu Dhabi. First time there, I didn't know what this part of the world was. But I studied it. It was going to be an event with lots of influencers. And at the time, that's where I started to drift. I'm like, okay, let me build that side of my career as well. So I took the trip. The event didn't go as planned in terms of the marketing. So they didn't have a lot of fans come out. Perfect for me because I had access to all the influencers. So I snuck my way into VIP rooms and I met all of these influencers who on paper had all these followers and they had such big egos, very big egos, very disrespectful the way they treated some fans who did come up. And I observed all of this. And to your point of how important has it been to have the groundedness of like being a good human being with good values, for me, I'm so grateful for that. I think it's been a combination of, I have to give some credit, like a lot of credit to the way I was brought up and the values that were instilled with me. And then the work that I put in as well to develop those, areas of being humble, being grounded, being empathetic. I think that's a really big one, like 100%. Having a high level of empathy.
100%.
And then constantly practicing it. So I journal a lot. I make sure every day I'm in awareness with my thoughts, how I'm thinking, who I am. And yeah, just traveling, seeing different experiences and stuff like that, you realize there's a lot more to just followers and this whole social media game. So that's been very important for me. But I've experienced a lot of interactions where people are very egotistical in this space.
It's interesting because like one of the quotes that always sticks with me is, if life cracks from the inside, or if a shell cracks from the inside, life is created. If a shell cracks from the outside, life is destroyed. And when you put it into an egg context, same again. If life is driven from the inside and you build yourself up that much that it breaks the shell above you and you can embrace everything the world has, this beautiful life is created and more can come. But then if you have this hollow shell that puts so much pressure on the outside that can't handle it and it cracks from the outside, it breaks you down and people get to a breaking point then before the domino effect hits. And it's very interesting you said that. And then moving on then, one thing I want to ask for yourself, when you achieved your professional contract, which was obviously the first year we played with each other, was it because you're on such a journey for a long time of becoming a professional footballer, you signed that contract, was it like oh my God, this is the moment, or okay, wow, it was a bit of an anticlimax of those all, or did you really enjoy the journey? What would you say was a big feeling with those things?
I did enjoy the journey. There were so many ups and downs getting there. That moment, it was crazy because it was a great moment. Like, okay, I achieved it signing here in Dubai. That was the first year we played together. But then at the same time, made the move to Dubai. And I was grinding like crazy on the football pitch, but also outside of it. So I had this opportunity to speak in Spain and I had it already scheduled a couple months prior. So it was a commitment. I signed the contract. We played against Al Nassr, the UAE club, friendly match it was. And then I went to the airport right away. Flew, did the talk. So everything happened so quickly. Not that I didn't fully take it in, but so many different situations were playing out that it wasn't like this, wow, this was this massive moment along. And I think the joy and the beauty in that was that I actually did enjoy like a lot of the ups and downs. And there were a lot of hard moments, like in the downs, especially along the way. Like now, although my life is very challenging still, lots of obstacles come up, I don't really have feelings of like, this is terrible, or I'm really frustrated or anxious. I don't feel like that anymore because I think I've developed my mental skill set to a level where it doesn't allow myself to hit those points. But on the journey to pro, I did hit those points. So I was in Austria, very low. Like I couldn't wake up 2 p.m. I couldn't wake up. I was in bed. I actually couldn't get out.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, like what's happening now? I was going on TikTok, hundreds of hate comments. Why is this guy still trying? He's never going to make it. Then I took the train to Germany and one trial didn't go well. Went back home. I was like very anxious and stuff. I'm like, yo, I don't want to be here. Like, let's go back home. I'm going to quit this right away. Many moments like that during the journey to pro. No one knows. I did document part of it, but like you see a video and you see a raw video, which a lot of people don't do. So there was substance to it, but there's much deeper levels to
100%. Yeah.
There's I post the video, but then there's the 4 hours where I'm alone in the room.
Yeah.
And like no one's with me. And I'm just like difficult thoughts back and forth, back and forth. But
that's where you build the resilience reps. Like,
yeah.
It's like reps in the gym, it's reps in the mind.
Yeah.
Right, come on. What's next? How did you do that when you like literally I can just picture that as a prison cell. Like it must have felt like a prison cell. That's what I'm getting from what you just described. How did you break the bars? How did you get out?
You have to keep going. That is the most important thing. You have to keep swinging. That's my philosophy for everything in life. You can never give up. You can never stop. You have to keep showing up. Even if it's you showing up and you give an attempt, you give an effort, that's going to continue the vision forward. Plus, your why and your purpose and your driving fuel needs to be strong enough, because if it's not, when you're hit with those situations, as difficult as they may be, if it gets to a certain extent, then it's like, I'm going to stop because why? There's no reason.
Yeah.
Like, why would I? But for me, the why was big. So even when the trial didn't go well, people are yelling at me, thousands of hate comments at a phase in the journey, family health problems, all these challenges, running out of money, I was like, wait, why? And the why, it fueled me. I'm like, I have to go because of this, because okay, my parents, I want to become successful, help them out, give them the life they truly deserve. The thousands of players who are waiting for me in 2028, they're waiting to be inspired. If I stop now, I don't get to inspire them. And that's why every day now I wake up and I have the philosophy of, okay, 110% effort. I have to be my best version, because if I don't, there's people in my circle who need me on my A game. And if I'm not on my A game, their experience of life will be less. And that honestly, that also fuels me now, because now it's not just about myself, but now it's about my friends, my family, people on the outside as well. So in those moments, that's how I kept going.
Wow. Really powerful that.
Yeah, a lot of difficult moments. Crazy. I have some on the hard drive. That one, nothing's been published. That's the documentary in the future.
In the safe. Good. The hard drive is in the safe. Wow. And even with that, though, like from what you just said, like you prime, and I know you as well, you prime yourself very well. You don't just wake up and see what the world has for you. You wake up and show up in the world as you want to show up.
Back then, I wasn't able to do it that well because the pressure was so high. But now, 100%.
Yeah. But then back then you were still trying, you were still reinforcing.
Yeah.
And people will hear this and be like, oh, well, it's easy for you to say. Everybody needs to have those challenges, but they'll either stay stuck or they move through it.
Yeah.
It's like a storm. If you see a storm coming, you can either walk away from the storm or go through it, because at the other end, you're going to see sun.
Yeah.
You have to go through that feeling. Mm-hmm. And it's really important that, as you said, you keep showing up. Even if it's just one step, it doesn't have to be a run. It literally just one step after the other.
Yeah.
Fighting the wind, fighting the hail, anything that life throws at you.
Yeah.
Because that makes you more resilient. It's when you want to back away from challenge that you're not sharpening that resilience muscle.
And sometimes even if you don't see the clear path and you don't see solutions in front of you, you still have to keep moving, because movement creates solutions.
Yeah.
And the analogy I always use is, think about the car on the road. You have the car on the road, it's parked. Road ahead, but it's foggy. It's very foggy. You're not sure exactly where you're going to go. If you keep that car parked in the same spot and you're not moving, you're never going to be able to know about the building 2 blocks down the road, or the ramp that's going to be leading to the successful place that you want to get to. So my philosophy is always keep the car moving. Keep the car moving. Even if you don't know what's ahead, keep it moving, because if you keep it moving, eventually the fog's going to clear up.
Yeah, nice.
You know, and that building's going to appear, the person's going to appear. the business deal is going to appear. But if you're always stationed on the side of the road, nothing's going to happen.
100%.
So
It's not going to come to you.
If momentum's low, create momentum. Do something, even if it's not the perfect move. By doing something, you get closer to the perfect move.
First thing in the morning, momentum's low. I don't want to get up. What'd you do?
Well, now my life is so different because now I have routines.
Yeah.
That sometimes situations get crazy, by the way, and I can't stick to the routines.
Yeah.
But that's where also the power of, and this is a different conversation now, of commitments come into place, right? Because now, in a way, I have commitments to 25, 30 people under the football club.
Yeah.
So even sometimes if I don't feel like doing something, no, I made the commitment. I have to make sure that this commitment gets done because their life is on the line. So that's a different kind of dynamic that not everyone can relate to. Yeah. But the days I wake up and maybe I don't feel like it, I often don't feel like it because I didn't prime myself, like you said, with the routine. So for me, it always starts the night before. The night before, do your routines. So as long as you have a strong why and a purpose, and then you frequently remind yourself of that, that's the why, and then the how. Those are the only two things you need.
Yeah, nice.
And then there's no reason why you won't wake up in the morning feeling super motivated to go. If you have clarity on those two things, how do you create clarity? You go inside, but then you have to be frequent. So you do it the night before so that when you wake up in the morning, what you go to sleep with is what you wake up with.
100%. And that builds momentum.
Yeah.
Over time, that builds.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And as you said, now you've got 20, 30 players.
Yeah.
Two that you need to show up for, but initially, and a lot of people don't have that amount of people, they just have themselves.
Yeah.
And if you aren't enough to show up for, then what really are you living for? You need to be everything. And people, I've had this conversation with people and they call it selfish because they ask me and I'm like, I am the biggest priority.
Yeah.
I am my biggest priority. Oh, what about your partner? What about your wife? Or I'm like, it's my responsibility to show up my best every single day, to give my best to a close friend, best friend, teammates, wife. It's not their job. It's my job. So that is why, like, putting myself first so then I can be my best in those situations is super important.
Yeah.
And that's self-care, not selfish.
Look, it always starts with yourself. And if you don't focus on yourself and prioritize yourself, you're being selfish. Because then you're not going to be the best for the other people around you. Yeah. I have this paper on my mirror. It says, what would Soheil 2.0 do?
Yes.
It's this core philosophy I have. It's called version 2.0. We all have version 1. Version 1 grew up, parents, school, society. That's version 1. Those are all your thoughts and like your version there. Version 2.0 is you knock the domino and you go down all the dominoes down the line. You become aware. You think, okay, what's my maxed out version look like? Version 2.0 of David. How does he think? What's his energy? How does he communicate? How does he execute? And too many people, they go through life version 1. How much of a shame would it be if you go through life version 1 when version 2.0 is available?
100%.
And going back to what you said about you have to make sure you are maxed out first, that's my audit checker for myself. I always think version 2.0, what would he do? Version 2.0, I have to make sure 10 minutes on the journal. I have to make sure version 2.0 works out for an hour. And if I do all those things and I'm version 2.0, my interactions with the 25, 30 people who are players, staff, other sponsors, everything, it's going to be maxed out.
Yeah, it's amazing. Really, really good. And that's almost your anchor to know I'm going to show up for this. This is almost that future picture. And when I'm coaching people, I do a lot of that. It's almost who is the next version of you? And it's not, oh, I'll sit here and wait for it because it's going to come to me. It's no, I can visualize how they look, how they stand, how they talk. And then you just start molding those things day after day slowly.
Yeah.
And then it's not that person's come to you, you've created this person. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting to know that you are the creator of everything.
Yeah.
How you think, how you speak, how you talk, how you present. And when you know where you want to be, you can start putting those things in place to get there.
Yeah.
Exactly like you said. And now we go into the club. Pro contract done, not done. As a part of the journey, it evolves. So it's not a tick list, but we evolve on the journey. All right, there's something bigger. Obviously, I knew you when you were thinking about it. Yeah, I had a phone call of, I've got a great idea. I was like, right, go on, let me listen. Many great ideas. I was like, wow, this is a big idea. Where
did you think of it first? Be honest.
Yeah, honest. I was like, if anyone can do it, this man can. And I was like, it's big, it's bold,
Yeah.
but the fact you put a timeline on it, if you had said, oh, one day, it's a bit more like, okay, yeah, I can see it. You put 365 days on it. 365 days to build a professional football club in a country you'd only been in for maybe 1 or 2 years, and using the presence of social media to build it. No one else has done that in the world. What was the night's sleep like before you went, you know what? Yeah.
So here's the story no one knows. The story is I was doing the journey to pro, 365 days to trying to sign a pro contract, came to Dubai. I was in Austria, Germany, Spain, all over. Came to Dubai, signed. We had a great season together. And that was already year 2. So we're 600 days in, but part of a documentation that took, if you zoom out 10 years, you're looking at 3,000 plus days of me going at the stream. And people don't even know that, but I didn't document that.
Yeah.
Some YouTube videos, if you go 6, 7, 8 years ago, but I didn't really document it every day. So what happened was we just got promoted and the club didn't take me back.
Yeah.
Same
Or me.
scenario with you and other players as well.
Yeah.
So then it was, okay, the storyline was Soheil just got promoted UAE First Division. Let's go. It's going to be hype. And it was like, okay, now I'm not First Division anymore. I was in touch with the Second Division team. For months, things were going to be good. I'm going to go. All of a sudden, the week before, ghost mode. Changed their mind. And then it was a bit later into the preseason. A lot of the Second Division clubs had already their players in those positions.
Yeah.
So then I go Third Division, look at different clubs. And then as I'm doing this in my mind, I'm like, okay, how lame is the story? Like from Second Division, promoted to First Division, back into Third Division. So I'm like, sit down with Daniel. And we sit down and I'm like, Daniel, look, we have to create a storyline. Road to World Cup. Get the whiteboard out. We make the Road to World Cup from Third Division. I'm like, this is the next storyline. This is how it's going to go. We work on this together for the week, okay? So this is the next storyline. And then fast forward, another week goes by. Now it's closer to the deadline where you need to sign with teams. And I'm trialing with new Third Division teams. And then I'm like, wow, some of these Third Division clubs are very unprofessional, training on like not good football pitches. And I saw their social media, they weren't doing it professionally. At the same time, I got frustrated at the time because some of these clubs weren't bringing me into their team because I had a social media presence. So I thought, why aren't we working together? I come, I give you my exposure traffic, you guys have your exposure traffic as a football club, we work together. I got frustrated, so I'm sitting down one day and I'm reflecting and I'm like, this is upsetting. What if I create my own club where we actually empower the players to have their focus on football, but also they can build a personal brand. And then around that, I could set them up with the pillars to be successful in life, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So if they want to get into coaching, we support them with that. If they want to understand content creation, we start helping them with that. If they want to learn about finances, how to save, how to invest, we start. And again, that vision has work to be done, but that was the vision I had. And then I took it to Dan the next day. And I remember he was upset at first because we had made this whiteboard plan, Road to World Cup. And anyways, dropped it to him. And it was just a crazy idea. And then we went back and forth. We're like, this is it. This is the idea. And very soon after that, we said day one. I remember, because we had this conversation even before the podcast, sometimes he's a perfectionist. He wants to think about things. I'm like, no, let's go. Day one, we made it happen on October 1st, 2023. Didn't know how we were going to do it. But the idea I had was document it like I documented my journey to pro. We used the same marketing storyline I used for the 365 days to trying to sign a pro contract. I knew it was going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Building a pro football club in its own from scratch is entertaining in only 365 days. So the idea was, didn't know how to do it exactly, but I knew if I documented it, I called it the magnet effect. We create a magnet, get the community building it, create so much hype, it attracts the right resources to make it happen.
100%.
And that's where it came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
And going back to those 3 pillars of the Uncommon Life philosophy: awareness of what you wanted, action, and then alignment.
Yeah.
Because without action, you couldn't align of, oh, what's next? Where do I go? Because you don't make that move. The fact that you just went, right, You could have waited for the perfect time.
Yeah.
There's never a perfect time. And you just went, you know what? I'm putting it out into the world. Everyone can see it. It's happening. Day one.
Yeah. And a couple of themes that I practiced back then, which I now practice still, and they're heightened: speed, execution. Speed, execution. It could have been very easy to have the idea. Okay, let's do our market research.
Yeah.
You know, 3 months go by at this. No, I'm like, okay, I had an idea. I had the belief. I saw the vision. I knew if we did it and we move fast with it and we move big with it, we're going to attract the right people and the right resources to make it happen. So everything I do in my life, I make sure I optimize speed and execution. Move, make things happen. The more you move, the more things happen. Too many people are waiting, sitting on the chair, trying to make the perfect plan. The perfect plan doesn't exist. There's never going to be a perfect plan. There's going to be an excellent plan. And the way you get to that excellent plan is by doing, because doing gives you the information to make your plan even better. So if you're sitting here on the couch today, you're making this plan compared to the guy who on day one got off the couch, he's starting to move. His evolved plan in month 2 is better than your plan sitting here because he has more information to work with. So whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, or you have a goal or a vision, move, do. Because the more you do, the more momentum you create, but also gives you information to make your product and your experience better.
100%. And even just to add on to that now as well, we've got 2 months left of the season.
Yeah.
It has not been a straight line.
1.5 months.
1.5
Time
months.
is ticking. Let's go.
It has not been a straight line.
No.
It has not been straightforward.
No, this one, like the line, I tried reflecting back on math class in high school. I'm like, which line is it? I couldn't find the line. It's been so like
There is no line.
there's no line.
There's been many roundabouts in this journey, and then
Yeah, I was thinking
you kept
like
moving.
I kept moving because I'm like, okay, exponential curve looks like this. No, it wasn't that one. So I'm looking at all the graphs. I'm like, let me get something out of high school math. But like the way this journey has evolved, it's gone from here to then it's like in that room. And
In a roller coaster line.
yeah.
A month and a half. Promotion first season. What an achievement that will be. I'm not going to say could be.
Yeah.
I'm going to back it and go will be. Professional football club in 365 days, first year promotion. When that happens, where's the club going next? What's next?
So then we're going to be in the UAE second division next. And it's going to be also a legacy move of we built the club in 1 year. We got promoted right away. So that will set the energy and the momentum for year 2. We want to create moves that are different, that are unique. I would say year 1, like you said, chaotic. Get the club up and running. I think we've learned a lot. Some situations that we really couldn't have anticipated that are part of life and you have to deal with. We're dealing with them in year 1 and we're going to evolve. But year 2, the focus is to execute on the vision a lot more. So now, last couple of weeks, some pieces are coming together, but still where I see it is so far different from where we are right now. On paper, it's cool. Let's get the promotion.
Yeah.
I know it's going to happen. We still have a month and a half of work to do, but the belief is there. Now moving into year 2, we're going to be UAE second division. We want to sign 1 to 2 surprising players who have played at some very high levels, some things in the works behind the scenes. We've got more sponsors and partners being added to the club. We're about to close our front kit sponsor, very exciting one. Stay tuned for that. The documentation is going to be a lot heavier as well. So this year we've done well with some of the short format stuff, building some hype, but we want to get that to the next level. And the long-term vision is obviously go all the way up to the ADNOC Pro League. That's never been done before, from a team to the third division to ADNOC Pro League. Hasn't been done before. So when we achieve it, it's going to be a big moment.
Language is everything.
Language is everything.
Language is everything.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And it really is it's not a big vision. If you're not dreaming big, then what are you dreaming?
Yeah.
There's no point in dreaming small. And that is a massive, massive kind of mission, but with a purpose. And when you've got that purpose-driven mission, you can work every hour under the sun because you love what you do and there's a reason behind it. And that is super, super special. Thank you for sharing that with us today. And if you had to, Soheil Var, you had to sum up everything in one sentence from a development standpoint for the guys listening today, what would be the biggest life lesson and bit of advice that you would share with people
So
from your journey?
obviously this is such a long topic, but if I had to summarize it, is growth mindset for me has been big. So have the awareness that you can be aware of who you are and who you want to be. Get clear with your why and your purpose, and then consistently work on upgrading yourself as a human in all areas of your life, from awareness to mindset to relationships to business to your health. And when you do that consistently, life becomes very fulfilling and it becomes very enjoyable. And I feel like I'm in that place right now. I feel like every day's passing, and yes, there's some big fires and some chaos, but honestly, I'm really enjoying it. It's a great place to be, and I know as time goes on, I'm getting more and more awareness on what's important to me, the impact, the family, personal health, and maximizing myself. So that's what I would give if I had to give a short answer there. So that's been really big for me.
Mate, that's fantastic. Yeah. And thank you very much for being guest number 1.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic way to start. And for you guys listening, watching, if you've got any questions, then please fire them down. What hit hard with you today? And we're not having these conversations, and I haven't created this podcast to tell you what to do. It's to create an awareness. So then you have that thought of, how do I want to upgrade my life? How do I want to go that next level with what I'm hearing? Because something will have hit, and whatever that is, that's currently what you're feeling and where you're at. So any questions, please put them below. We're more than happy to support and help you on your journey as well. And if you think this will resonate with other people, please share, please tag, please comment, and most importantly, keep creating the uncommon life for yourself to lead with authenticity, power, and energy.
But I just want to say this has been a great episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like David said, take, even if it's one thing, execute on it. But I also want to encourage you, stay tuned for episode 2, all the upcoming episodes, because David is fantastic and he's going to have some great conversations with upcoming guests. Okay, final message, because this is a theme that I'm currently practicing and really implementing in my life. Whatever you're currently thinking about, whatever the goal is, whatever the vision is, think bigger. What comes to mind? Think even bigger. Go bigger and then execute. We talked about execution today. Whatever you have in your mind right now, the dream, the vision, that big vision that you want to achieve, you can do it. And you not living version 2.0, that's stunting your growth. So believe in yourself, think bigger, go for it, move quick, move fast, and whatever that vision is, you're going to be able to achieve it. So I just want to give that energy to the audience. That's something that I'm working with right now, building this club and getting promoted together in the next month and a half. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm excited for episode 2. It's going to be good.
Thank you very much. Thank you.